Hello, welcome to the first episode of Record Stories. This is my new channel where I'm going to go through my record collection and talk about records that are important to me, what they mean to me, and how I came across them in the first place. My husband and I have been record dealers for most of our lives, and we've got quite a sizable collection here. Not just records, but CDs, 45s, 78s. We got a lot. The record I'm going to talk about today is Chronic Town by REM. I first got this record when I made a radio commercial. I was right out of high school. And back then it was really fashionable and popular to do Valley Girl voices, like Frank Zappa and Moon Zappa's record, Valley Girl. You know, like totally. And the t-shirt business I was working for at the time, she heard me just mocking that, aping that at the store one day, and she said, "Oh, I want to make a radio commercial and you do that voice." So I did that voice, and the radio station asked me to do a couple of other voice promotions like that in that voice, and they said they would pay me, but they never did. So the last one I went in to make for them, I think it was for a shoe store or something like that. I went into their record library and just took out a handful of records. And I was like, okay, you paid me. Here they are. And one of them was Chronic Town, which I had heard bits and pieces of on George Gamark's Rock and Roll Alternative radio show in Dallas in 1983, 84. And I came home and put it on my record player, and it was like how older people have described hearing Elvis or the Beatles the first time. It's just electrifying. I played it over and over and over again until my mom came into my room and told me to quit playing it or she was going to break it. It's their original EP after their Radio Free Europe 45 on Hibtone came out, their very first record, and it's an EP. It's only got 5 songs on it, but it was my absolute favorite record for a long time, and I was an REM fan until they broke up. I was one of the first members in their fan club. Still have all my fan club memorabilia. And I got to meet them, and they autographed it for me, as you can see there. And it's just a great record. And the next one that came out after this was called Murmur, and they redid Radio Free Europe on that one. And the Murmur tour was the first tour I got to see them on. I ended up seeing them in Dallas about 7 times. Every time they would come through, I would go see them. And I had a mad crush on Peter Buck at the time. So, in fact, in 1988, I had so many records by bands from their hometown called Athens, Georgia. And the B-52s were also from there, too. And it was just known for having a fantastic music scene. So I thought in 1988, I was 23, and I was going to go on my first solo vacation. So went to a travel agent, and she booked me a flight to Charlotte, North Carolina, which I got a puddle jumper to go down to Athens. And I stayed for about 4 days and just toured the town and went to the 40 Watt Club, saw the method actors, and I remember the Red Hot Chili Peppers were in town as well. They were staying at the Holiday Inn downtown that I was staying at. And my next to the last day there, I'd gone down in the elevator to the hot tub in the indoor swimming pool. And I'd been swimming and sitting in the hot tub. And I was finished with that, so I got back in the elevator and I was going back up to my floor. And this skinny, kind of rocker looking guy got on the elevator with me. And I recognized him right away. It was Hillel Slovak from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And he was remarking that he liked my Velvet Underground t-shirt that I was wearing at the time. I was like, oh, yeah, I like the Chili Peppers too. They're great. And he said, I got some good pot in my room if you want to accompany me. And I didn't. But I wanted to be polite. You know, I wasn't going to be an asshole about it. So I just said, you know, I've got a nice pot in my room too. There was a strip across the seat that said sanitize for your protection. And he just kind of looked at me like, okay. And I got off and I was like, bye. And sadly enough, a month later, he was dead of an overdose. So, but I had gone to Athens because I was going to have my groupie experience with Peter Buck. And just my luck, he was in Mexico that week getting married to the owner of the 40 Watt Club, a lady named Barry. So that was my luck. I did, however, see Michael Stipe and Natalie Merchant eating some lunch at this little cafe called The Grit. So that was starstruck. And I had wanted to see Love Tractor, but they weren't in town that week. I loved Love Tractor. That's another fantastic Athens band. So that's my Athens, Georgia story. And I heartily recommend this record. It's still available on CD. It's not autographed like mine, but it won't disappoint. So come back again for my next installment. Thanks. Like, share, and subscribe.